But this can change, because when you learn to connect these points, what once seemed impossible becomes achievable. Let me ask you, have you ever noticed how the same activity can generate different feelings in different people? Some feel incapable, others feel ashamed, and some don't even know how to react. But here's what matters most. These feelings turn into emotions, and often these emotions aren't bringing you positive results. That's why I want you to understand this. The problem isn't that you weren't prepared. The problem is not realizing that you can always anticipate. If you need a sheet of paper, ask for it. If you need a pen, ask for it. But above all, don't stay still, because those who don't act freeze. Let me share a personal story that illustrates this perfectly. During the birth of our third child, my wife, Carol, quite literally did everything herself. I was driving, and she said, "Just drive." And there in the car, she delivered our son, little Miguel, with her own hands. It was incredible. And do you know what that taught me? That even in the most challenging moments, we are never truly alone. There is always someone nearby, whether to help or to learn from. And this applies to our entire life. When we are born, we are not alone. Someone helps us come into the world. When we die, there are at least 4 people carrying the coffin. And if you were a good person, maybe even 8, holding it in spots without handles. We are always surrounded by people. The question is, do you understand how they work? Here's a quick and powerful tip. Understand who you are, and you'll know how the people around you function. Life is like this. No one is born alone, no one grows alone, and no one prospers alone. Now let me take a pause to share a scene that stuck with me. Who here remembers Ayrton Senna? Did you know that on the day of his funeral, his greatest rival on the racetrack, Alain Prost, carried his coffin? That's honor. Even among rivals, there was respect, because deep down, even those we call enemies can be people who respect us so much that they need to be close. So don't fear enemies and don't fear friends either. We will always be surrounded by people. And do you know what someone does first when they give up on life? They isolate themselves. They stop being around people. That's why you should never feel ashamed to ask for a sheet of paper, a pen, or any help you need, because you are never truly alone, unless you choose to be. But here's an assignment. The next time you go somewhere, take something with you, be it the resource or the person delivering it, because to prosper is to always be ready to take the next step. And if you need help, ask for it. There's no shame in that. Just today, someone asked for a sheet of paper. Maybe you felt embarrassed or incapable, but do you know what that means? That you're still learning to be free to act, and that's okay. What matters is not standing still. Now grab your sheet of paper and let's do a simple exercise. I want you to draw. Stop everything and grab a sheet, because what we're going to do now is outline a life sketch that could change everything. Absolute silence. Focus. I'm going to draw the points of my life and you'll do the same. One day in the past, I was at a call center. That's my starting point. Now, I want you to mark yours. It could be a job, a tough situation, or something that seemed insignificant at the time. Mark your first point on the paper. Next, mark where you are now. This is the present point. Look around and be honest. Where are you? What's happening in your life at this moment? Put that on paper. Finally, mark a point for the future. Think about what you want to build, what you want to achieve. No matter how far it seems, mark it on the paper. And here's the magic. These points connect. What you lived in the past brought you to where you are now, and what you do now will take you to the future you desire, but only if you understand that nothing happens in isolation. So, let's challenge ourselves. I want you to look at these points and see the potential in each one. Because what you are drawing now isn't just on a piece of paper, it's your map to prosperity. Now I want you to focus on this exercise. We're going to draw together, because what I'm about to teach you is powerful. Take a full sheet of paper and imagine 3 points. One at the beginning of the page, another in the middle, and one at the end. These points represent the past, the present, and the future. Think of a situation from your past that, looking back today, seems to have no connection to your current life. It could be a job, a challenging moment, or something that seemed insignificant at the time. Mark that point at the beginning of the page. For example, in my case, it was my job at the call center. I remember answering calls impatiently, but it was there that I developed skills that prepared me for what I do today. Now mark a point in the middle of the page. This is your present. Where are you right now? Be honest with yourself. What is your reality? This point represents the choices and challenges you are facing at this moment. Finally, mark the point for the future. Place it at the end of the page. This point represents your purpose, something you haven't yet achieved, but that is already mapped out in your destiny, waiting to be revealed. Now, let me add something important. On another point in the past, let's say at 8 p.m., think about people who impacted your life in the past, but are no longer present in it. These people in some way influenced your journey. Acknowledge that and put it on paper. And in the future, mark people you haven't met yet, but who will be part of your life. People you never imagined would sit at your table, but who are already aligned with the frequency of your purpose. They are part of your future, even if you can't see them today. Let me share an example from my own past. In 2010, I was organizing events, starting from scratch. I personally handed out flyers, tucked them into car doors, and worked so hard that the ink would stain my nails. Back then, I rented billboards and did everything offline to fill venues. There were no shortcuts. With a lot of effort, I filled a football stadium in 10 days and a gymnasium with 16,000 people in 17 days. What did this teach me? That the hard work of the past built the foundation for what I do today. At the time, it seemed insignificant, but every flyer, every billboard, and every conversation was a point that connected to my current purpose. Here's what I want you to understand. The points from your past don't always make sense immediately, but they are essential for drawing your future. Everything you've lived has a purpose, and it will be revealed when you start connecting those dots. So, look at your paper now. These 3 points represent your journey. The past prepared you. The present is where you act, and the future is the purpose waiting for you. But none of this works if you don't make decisions. Decisions are what move you forward. Here's a reflection. Are you willing to work on your present, even when the future isn't yet clear? Because that's what separates those who live in the past from those who build an extraordinary future. Now let's revisit the past together. Think of a specific point in your life, something you've already lived that seemed meaningless at the time. Maybe it was a challenge, an unfair situation, or something that left a mark on you. I'll show you how that point can connect directly to your purpose. When I look back at my past, I see that I produced many events. I did this for years. At the time, I thought my life would revolve around organizing events forever.